is up, my sweet little garbanzo beans? So today's reading is going to be a topic that I think is generally pretty important. I don't know if y'all ever struggle figuring this out, but it's that big old question of, am I more the divine masculine or divine feminine energy? And for those of you who are unaware, when I say divine masculine, divine feminine, I don't mean referring to your gender identity or your gender expression. These are completely different. These are kind of just talking about the energies we possess, and we all possess a mixture of both. We just tend to be one a little bit more than the other. And some people think that this is, a pretty static kind of like, I guess I'll say energetic identity or signature throughout all of your lifetimes. And some people think it can kind of shift and change. But this is really talking about your energetic identity in this lifetime at the very least. This is really what I'm here to look at. I'm pretty heavily oversimplifying here, but essentially when I say divine feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine energy is a little bit more internalized, it's more receptive, it's more, nurturing, creative, and when I talk about divine masculine energy, it's kind of more externalized. This is more action-oriented. This is more, about your self-empowerment and your self-confidence. So this is, again, that's a really, really quick and dirty oversimplification, but this is kind of just to get it started. So if you're kind of trying to figure out, am I more of the divine masculine or divine feminine, this is the reading for you, my friends. So we have 3 groups to choose from today, and the little objects associated with each one is we have group 1 with this little armadillo. I almost said badger. Oops. But I think his name is Arnie, if I remember correctly. Or is it Artie? But he's an armadillo, and he's happy to be here. And then group 2, we have this little butterfly right here. Still does not have a name, so anyone has suggestions, you shout it out in the comments, babes. And then for group 3, we have this little toy white mouse that my cat very generously offered up for this reading. So so take your time. Pause the video if you need more time to contemplate these options. You can choose based on the objects or based on the group number, or sometimes I know for myself I'll do pick a cards where I will pick based on the timestamp number, whatever it simplifies down to, if I really can't choose. So there's a myriad of ways to pick, but none of them is wrong as long as it resonates with you and it feels right. So with that, I am going to get started with group 1. Hi, group 1. So if you chose our sweet little armadillo baby, look at this. I feel like, I picked these out mostly just to kind of have something to use to mark each different group. I didn't plan on incorporating them super heavily into the reading, but I did want to touch on it briefly. Armadillos are all about setting boundaries. So in this lifetime, I feel like having a lot of self-empowerment and boundary setting is going to be pretty crucial, pretty key in what your energetic identity is helping you to kind of master in this life journey. So I'm going to pull for you, if I can pick up the deck, there we go, a Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle to kind of talk about the energy that you're really going to be working with and embodying in this lifetime. These are hard to shuffle. That's how you guys know I love you. I'm trying to shuffle on camera even though I'm super bad at it. Okay, so you guys got Cosmic Flower. Look at that. And it says, the frequency of Cosmic Flower activates our remembrance of the place we call home, the core from which we pour our magnificence out into the world. Yes. Okie dokie. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. There we go. I like how he's like hiding behind it, like, it's okay. It's all gonna be okay. So yes. So this group is really here in this lifetime to I feel like uncover or really expand upon soul talents that you might not have had a chance to really work on in previous lifetimes. This has like a really big, I don't always get this vibe off this card, but in this case, this kind of has like a really big manifestation feel to me. I'm kind of already getting a little bit of a vibe of like more of a divine masculine energy, but we'll definitely see what comes out. There is, however, a lot of orange, and that's also very much a divine feminine energy because it makes me think of the sacral chakra. But, you know, really what we're looking at here is like, this is what you are working on in this lifetime. This is what your soul is trying to express in this lifetime. And this is what your energetic identity is trying to help facilitate in this particular life journey for you. And because it says, you know, the core from which we pour our magnificence out into the world, again, this is giving me a feeling of like more of divine masculine energy because it's kind of more externalized, outward oriented, and action oriented. I feel like there's a lot going on for you folks in this lifetime through interpersonal relationships, right? And I feel like maybe you were drawn to the armadillo because there is an element to which a theme of this lifetime is going to be negotiating and navigating how much to put yourself out there versus without like overextending yourself, right? And it feels like this is about the way you make your way through the world. And you might be somebody who has impeccable boundaries. Your boundaries might be almost like too strong, or you might struggle to make boundaries. And either way, this is going to be kind of a theme for you in this lifetime. And I want to comment that this is card 18, which would simplify to a 9. So like I said, I think this is something that you've been working on in other lifetimes that's really coming into full fruition and expression in this lifetime, because there are things that you have to wrap up. There are things that need to there's a soul cycle, soul journey here that's been going on for multiple lifetimes that needs to kind of come to a culmination in this life in order to prepare you to move on to new soul lessons, like an entirely new soul plan in upcoming lifetimes. So that's exciting. So let's pull you guys a tarot card to kind of see. My intention was I have 2 tarot decks, and I kind of wanted to get like a feeling with these cards about the energy that you're sort of coming into this lifetime embodying and working with. And then the idea is to pull a Rider-Waite card to kind of maybe look at more of the, the masculine versus feminine identity. And then I also have the Lighteseer tarot to look into it to like dig a little bit deeper. Okay. So what is the, okay. You guys got 2. Okay. Wow. So, all right, let's talk. Interesting. There we go. Okie dokie. So you guys got the High Priestess reversed and the Empress upright. I shuffled the shit out of this deck, out of all my decks, before I start filming, so it's not like, and I say that because we have a 2 and a 3, so they would follow one another in the tarot, or the Empress follows the High Priestess. This is like, I'm like, how do I describe this? So this is like divine feminine powerhouse, absolute powerhouse. The Empress is very much about manifestation as well. She's incredibly abundant. And with the High Priestess reversed, I'm really feeling like a focus of this lifetime for you is to really have these like cosmic truths revealed to you, right? And it says activates our remembrance of the place we call home. Boom, right there. So I do feel like a huge focus of this lifetime is to come into these expressions, these realizations, these truths that you've been working on in other lifetimes, and really like harness that. Oof, excuse my burp. Like really harness that in order to create abundance for yourself, and in order to, I feel like it's like finally time for you to wear the crown is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I feel like, again, there's a culmination point of multiple lifetimes worth of work, of multiple different skill sets from different lifetimes. I'm also really liking that, unless I'm totally blind and I'm not seeing this correctly, that she has little pomegranates all over her. I think they're pomegranates. Let me look. They look like pomegranates. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the Empress has little pomegranates on her dress. And there are pomegranates in the back here. But this is like divine feminine powerhouse. This is like, you can see beyond the veil. You know, the High Priestess knows so much more than she speaks. And when she reveals a spiritual truth for you, because she, you know, she has kind of a foot in both worlds, you know, when she reveals a spiritual truth to you, it's because you're ready to know. So this lifetime is an incredibly spiritual lifetime for you folks, if you are attracted to group number 1. So I feel like this lifetime is all about understanding things that have evaded you in previous lifetimes. You might be claircognizant, or there might be kind of like elements of spirituality or sort of just like the human condition that you just naturally understand. You've always kind of been able to flow with it. You might be gifted manifestors as well. And all of this comes from the work that you've done in prior lifetimes. So I'm going to put more tarot and kind of dig a little deeper before I ultimately kind of, you know, give you my interpretation of divine masculine, divine feminine. So let's see what you get. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, you guys got 4. I thought you only had 3. My goodness. So you guys got... Ooh, we got Judgment. There it is. Boom. Right in front. You got... Oh, 7 of Swords. Okay. I like how shocked this crow looks, like it's scandalized. Like, can you believe him? My goodness. That's exactly the vibe I'm picking up. Let me just move this out of the way. You have the 10 of Swords. You guys, what has happened? And then you have the 3 of Pentacles. Okay. All right. So, I'm just looking for a sec. Okay. I got it, I think. So, right off the bat, we have spiritual truths being revealed, right? And I feel like this is because with that 7 of Swords and 10 of Swords, I feel like in the past, in past lives, and this also could be, you know, earlier in this lifetime as well, these themes could be playing out, you know, again. Actually, I'm kind of getting that, yeah, sorry. Is that I feel there are themes from past lives that have played out, like repeated themselves in this lifetime for you, right? I feel like there were themes where the wool was pulled over your eyes because the 7 of Swords is all about trickery and deceit. And I feel like it's really, oh shoot, I'm almost knocking everything over. It's really interesting because the guy here has his hood up, so you can't see him. And then this woman on the 10 of Swords has her back to us and you can't see her. Everybody else you can see their faces, but they're the only ones that you can't. And I feel like there have been situations where, you know, in a past life, this could have been you or this could have happened to you, where the truth was withheld from you. The truth was, and I'm feeling this is very intentional, the truth was intentionally withheld from you. Or again, you know, in a past life, it could go either way. You could have been the one withholding the truth from somebody else. But whatever the situation was, it caused a very painful ending, right? The 10 of Swords is about being stabbed in the back, being betrayed. This is about, you know, something that is dead beyond. It's super interesting, right? Because the 10 of Swords is something that is like dead beyond, like beyond repair, beyond resuscitation, beyond revival, resurrection. That's the word. I'm like, if I keep saying other words that are similar enough, I think I'll get there. But beyond resurrection. And the Judgment card is very much the energy of resurrection. So whatever's happened in a past life, I feel like that was Kaputski's. That's it. And I feel like this has to do with interacting with other people because we have the 3 of Pentacles. So really working with other people, seeing other people as on your side, as you know, as somebody, you know, people you could work with, people you can trust, people who are, you know, as teamwork makes the dream work is definitely the energy of the 3 of Pentacles. So I feel like in a past life, this may have been something where maybe you were too trusting of other people around you, or perhaps, and again, boundaries, or perhaps, you know, maybe you were the person in a past life that, you know, whether intentionally or unintentionally had violated somebody's boundaries. But there's something here about the boundaries between yourself and others and equal give and take. And I feel like this is something that has evaded you in a past life. Again, whatever end of, you know, whether you're the perpetrator or the victim, so to speak, and I wish I had better words, so I apologize. I feel like this is something that evaded you in a past life. And I feel like this is something that deeply impacted what you were able to manifest for yourself. Because I feel like you're meant to manifest. Interestingly, we have a 3 and then we have another 3 right here. I feel like you're meant to, and we have 20, which would be a 2 and a 2. Like you're meant to manifest a lot, and you're meant to manifest with other people. And I feel like this situation that happened in a past life has been in some way, shape, or form repeated in this life with the Judgment card, right? And I feel like this is something that, however this has played out in this lifetime for you, has really impacted you at a soul level, has, potentially made you feel really cut off from other people, really having a hard time trusting other people, not knowing, I'm feeling like really, setting boundaries has really evaded you. Like, I get this sense of, like, either, this situation happened and you just, like, put up these huge walls to the point where nobody can get through, or maybe, like, you're the type of person where you're not really sure what a healthy boundary looks like, so it's either kind of all or nothing. Either you set up really strong boundaries or they're not strong enough. I feel like there's something about working with other people and setting up good boundaries for yourself that you might struggle with a little bit. Excuse me, because I do feel like you're a very abundant energy. I feel like you have a lot of really good ideas. I also feel like you have that potential where whatever it is you really put your mind to, whatever it is you touch kind of can turn to gold, and people sense that about you. So I feel like people are often trying to kind of get in on your ideas, or are trying to take up your time or your energy. And so there's something about that that's happening here. And I feel like this is playing out in this lifetime for you with this Judgment card energy, for you to finally master this lesson, because you have a lot to do and a lot to make here. And that may be why I was picking up a little bit more of a masculine energy. You have a lot to do and a lot to make. And so I feel like this is something that has been playing out for you in this lifetime, because you are meant to work well with other people. You're meant to have other people help you bring your dreams into fruition, but I do feel like it comes from seeing things clearly as they are and really setting up, the Empress has impeccable boundaries. The Empress, is so abundant because she knows her worth and she doesn't accept anything less, not even for a second. And because of that, she has the time, the energy, and the people around her to help make her dreams a reality, right? To really devote herself to her own vision, and to be able to, help. She helps people with theirs and they help her with hers, but there's a healthy, like I said, a healthy boundary there. And I feel like with the 3 of Pentacles, y'all are meant to have that in this lifetime. And that's meant to be a lesson that is wrapped up. That's meant to be a cycle that comes to a close, and that comes to a very prosperous ending here. You guys are meant to know true abundance in all of its forms. And this is in interpersonal relationships. This is monetarily, materially. And again, I feel like if you were attracted to this group, you're an excellent manifester, but there's something about the people around you being a draw on your energy. And I feel like that's kind of what's being talked about in this lifetime, is this like remembrance of who you are, where you've come from, the experiences that you've had, and to try to strike that delicate balance between being part of the greater whole without being consumed by other people. So, long story short, if I had to kind of break it down here, like I said, I was feeling initially a little bit more of a masculine energy, but I think that's also because we have a heavy manifestation energy here, and sometimes I kind of think about manifestation a little bit more with like a masculine energy, if it's like manifestation coming into fruition. We do have 2 masculines depicted in your cards, but we have predominantly feminines, and especially for the identifying archetypal cards, you have like the epitome of divine feminine, like empowered divine feminine. So I would say this group has a very balanced energy for the most part, but leans, and this depends on where you are in your spiritual journey in this lifetime, as well as, like your age, your maturity, things like that. But I would say that this energy at its core is relatively balanced, but when it is still a work in progress, or maybe a little bit less mature, or again, just different places on your spiritual path, I would say there's a lean a little bit more toward the divine feminine side. and not saying divine feminine's not mature, but I'm saying again, you know, I think maybe struggling with boundaries, struggling to, especially if you're like an overgiver, or you know, you want to help care for people, sometimes at the expense of yourself. That kind of can be like the, you know, the less healthy side of a divine feminine energy. So yeah, I would say overall very balanced, but I feel like this group leans divine feminine predominantly because of these two cards. So I hope this has been helpful. I also do a reading on, you know, this is a general reading. I offer this reading specifically in my shop as well. So if you're still not sure, or, you know, some of this resonated, but you want to know more for your personal situation, please feel free to go check that out. The link is in the description down below. And then if you oh my gosh, words. If you don't see something that meets your specific spiritual or financial needs, totally DM me, because I'd be happy to make a custom reading. So with that, I think I'm going to leave you here, group one. It's been an honor to read your cards. I'm wishing you all of the best and the most beautiful things that life has to offer. Take care, love bugs. Bye. What's up, my sweet little garbanzo beans who are attracted to group 2 with this lovely little butterfly. Look at this, babes. So cute. So if you're attracted to this little butterfly, a huge theme of this lifetime for you is going to be transformation. And I feel like really freeing yourself from I wouldn't say personally inflicted restraints, but I feel like programming that has been given to you originally and then maintained, like subconscious programming that's been maintained throughout your entire life. This is kind of like an 8 of Swords feeling, where it's like, you know, after years of kind of just being subject to the whims, the beliefs, the ideas of others, you are really going to be going through this transformative process where you're going to be cutting away all the things that aren't really true to you and breaking free. And this may be something that's very, very difficult for you, or something that's not well received by your peers and loved ones, but this is going to be a crucial process for you in this lifetime. You may have very important, like, heavy Pluto placements, or have a lot of Scorpio in your chart. So yeah, I'm just trying to see if I get anything else off of it. So yes, transformation is going to be a huge theme for you. And I really am noticing with this wing, I don't know if you can see, there's like this little darker spot. I almost kind of feel like this looks like the butterfly got a little bit burned. And maybe that's kind of that vibe I was picking up earlier, where it's going to be something that might be very challenging for you. But I do feel like it's going to be one of those things where, you know, it's almost, it adds such meaning to your journey. And it almost feels like, you know, showing off your scars as something that is part of your life path, part of your journey, part of your personal evolution, right? So yeah, anyway, I have the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle, so I'm going to pull a card from this deck to kind of talk about the energy you're going to be primarily working with in this lifetime, and how your energetic identity is going to be impacted by this energy. I'm also going to pull I'm going to pull a tarot card from the Rider-Waite deck to kind of look, I'm just going to go over here, to kind of look a little bit more closely at the you know, kind of get a feel for what the energy that you're embodying in this lifetime, the divine masculine or divine feminine, to give us a better idea of which way your energy is leaning in this lifetime. And then I'm going to pull additional tarot cards from the Lighteseer's tarot to kind of look at that a little bit more closely, and look at you know, really look at like how this is going to be playing out for you in this lifetime. Sorry, I'm like tripping over my words today. So let's pull you guys a card and kind of talk about your energy in this lifetime. Part of your energetic identity in this lifetime. Oh my gosh. It is so hard for me to shuffle on camera. And it's so hard for me to shuffle this deck, but I can't help it. It's so beautiful. It's going to be this one. Okay. Sorry, I'm just putting my deck out of the way. Okay, so you guys got, you got communication. Okay. So this is card 14, and communication says, the frequency of communication supports our ability to exchange information in many different forms. It reminds us to run every piece of information, both incoming and outgoing, through our heart, the center of our truth, and to stay in the flow of source and balanced exchange. Okay. So this lifetime communication is going to be very, very important for you. I'm trying to get it to stand up straight, but it's hard. Communication is going to be very, very important for you. For some of you, you might have a career in the communication field. You might be, because there's a lot of blue here, so there's a lot of like throat chakra energy. There's also a lot of green, so we have heart chakra, and purple, so this is like third eye and crown. So your upper your upper 4 chakras are going to be probably your more dominant and active chakras in this lifetime. And really what this is talking about is that working through communication is going to be the biggest thing for you in this life. We have a 6-pointed star in the middle. I'm not sure if you can see that. Can you see? Like right in the middle here. And so to me, this is always kind of talking a little bit about interpersonal relationships, just because the number 6 can talk about those interpersonal relationships and harmony and keeping balance. So this may play out with other people, but really I'm just seeing like exchanging, it's like connecting with other people through your communication style is going to be a huge focal point for you in this lifetime. And communicating very honestly from the heart is going to be a really, really big focus for you in this lifetime. And with all the purple here too, this is part of your spiritual path. And I feel like, because we have the 2 larger circles right here and then the 2 smaller circles, I feel like there is something here where, there might be 1 or 2 areas of life where this is very strong and this is very like, very, very developed or almost overdeveloped, and then 2 areas where this is a little bit weaker, right? So maybe like in your romantic relationships and in your job, you have, strong communication skills, but maybe, with friends or family, you might struggle, or maybe, you're really good communicating with people in person, there's a really good back and forth exchange, but then when you don't have like those non-verbal cues that you get when you're in person with somebody, your communication may falter. There's something here about how there's going to be an area where you are just naturally very gifted and it comes very easily to you, and you practice that and you hone those skills, and there's going to be this other area that needs work here. And I kind of get the feeling that wherever this is like really strong for you, is going to be kind of the area that's like your dominant primary kind of gifts or life purpose that you'll be pursuing. So if you're like, for example, a very, very strong writer, maybe this is like something where you have written communication versus verbal communication. If you're a very strong writer, a challenge of this life may be working on your verbal communication, but you might go on to write professionally. You might go on to, share what you've written with an audience, something like that, if that makes any sense. And either way, and through all of this, really being able to express your heart-centered truth is a huge thing in this lifetime. This is where you're going to get the most soul evolution. And with this being the number 5 too, I do feel like there will be a lot of times of challenge. And I don't feel like it's like a horribly bad thing, but I feel like it's going to like really, especially with all the throat chakra energy, all the blue, I feel like this is going to really like stretch your perceptions, stretch your concepts of self-expression. It's going to make you go back to the drawing board and kind of rethink how you do certain things, and how you personally communicate certain things. So I really like to see that. That's really cool because, when you think about it, at the end of this lifetime, then you're going to be like, it's going to be hopping for you, and I'm super excited. So let's pull you guys a tarot card to kind of look at your divine masculine or feminine energy and how this interacts with what we've already uncovered for you. Okay, so group 2, the more divine masculine or feminine. Whoa. Okay, interesting. I was only going to pull 1 of these cards, but then group 1 also got 2 cards as well. So let's see what comes out for you guys, because now I'm curious. So you have strength. Okay. And then you have, oh, the High Priestess. Group 1 got the High Priestess as well. Interesting. And Group 1 also had 2 major arcanas. I reshuffled the deck between each group because I want to make sure it's nice and shuffled. So if you were drawn in, you couldn't decide between Group 1 or Group 2, you might want to also go back and watch Group 1. So, okay. I'm just looking really quickly. So we have the Strength card. This is card 8, by the way, in case that's important for you. We also have a card 2. This is Leo energy that may resonate with you in your circumstances, but it certainly does not have to. And then the High Priestess can kind of be, you know, I always kind of view her as more like Pisces energy, but she could be kind of Pisces or Cancerian energy because she's ruled by the moon, and because she's just so spiritual. she's all about mystery and intrigue. Okay, so it's really interesting because Group 1 got the High Priestess reversed. So a huge theme for Group 1, for example, was that there are spiritual truths that were going to be revealed to them in this lifetime. But you got her upright. And so what I'm really seeing here is that there are spiritual truths that are very much based in your emotions that you're going to have to work through in this lifetime. And I do feel like there are going to be times where it almost feels like it's in your blind spot, or this comes out of nowhere, something like that. Because I was getting this feeling earlier a little bit too, where it's like, okay, I've mastered these things, I've mastered it. And then it's like these areas of deficit make themselves known. And it's not, you know, with that challenge energy, it's not to like, you know, it's not to make you feel bad. It's not to make you feel crappy. It's to try to really like, you know, expand you. Because look at how far these circles go out here, right? I feel like there's a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of potential. And so any challenges you encounter in this regard is to really try to help expand your skill set and expand your perception about how you communicate. I also want to say too, just a side note, with all the purple here, some of you may be very gifted channelers. So I wanted to share that. And this also has very strong, sorry, little selenite tower. This also has very strong Archangel Michael kind of vibes for me. So you may work really heavily with Archangel Michael, or he may work with you. I don't know why I said it like that. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm like this. But yeah, you know, really what I'm getting here is, and we talked all about the green and like the heart center truth, and so I love seeing the Strength card come up for that, is because, you know, the Strength card it's Leo energy. Leo rules the heart chakra, or is ruled by the heart chakra. So this is, again, heart-centered truth. And I really like, there's only a handful of cards where there's like a blue mountain in the background. And to me, that can talk about like scaling an emotional mountain or a communication related mountain. And I kind of see it as both in this. So I'm really glad that that popped up in this reading. I do feel like there's something here about needing to really discover the truth of what lies like in the heart for you, right? Because the Strength card is all about, it's about patience. It is about like mastering your kind of inner demons, right? It's about taming yourself from the inside out, so to speak. Like really getting a handle on your like more wild nature, I guess. You're like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I always have a hard time putting it into words, but you kind of get what I mean, I think. Like, you know, she's tamed the lion, she's turned it into like putty in her little hands. And this really talks about like, you know, this could talk about your ego, and ego doesn't just have to mean like your perceptions about yourself and your self-worth. This can also talk about your fears and like all the stuff that's in your shadow. So she has managed to tame those kind of more unruly parts of herself, right? And she does so with love. And I think that's one of the most powerful things about the Strength card. This can also talk a lot about patience, and especially patience with other people in interpersonal relationships, and really, really mastering as much as possible, mastering the skills needed for that relationship through patience, through unconditional love. And again, this can be with other people as well as with yourself, you know, as above, so below, so to speak. And I feel like a lot of this is going to come through communication with that blue mountain. A lot of these kind of challenges with the 5 here, and these changes, and this kind of like the magic of your own personal evolution is going to come through that process for you. But with the High Priestess here, I do feel like it's not going to be straightforward answers. It's going to be a lot of like, it's going to be hard to kind of see the way forward. It's going to be a little bit murky. It's going to require that you be patient with yourself and others. And but the words here, oh my gosh, the rewards are going to be so worthwhile, right? There's so much growth here. There's so much love. There's so much joy and confidence, and there's so much abundance, like emotional abundance and fertility that's available through this process, right? Fun fact, in the traditional tarot, only 2 cards have an infinity symbol, which represents manifestation as well as source energy, and it's the Magician and the Strength card. So again, there's the potential to manifest so much for yourself, and especially in terms of your interpersonal relationships, through these challenges, through these, these troubles, through these, through these trials and tribulations, you are going to grow and expand, again right here, expand so much more than you ever thought possible. And something else I'm kind of getting here too, this may also kind of talk about like an imbalance between like the head and the heart. So again, maybe you're somebody who's very eloquent, you're very well spoken, you might be an excellent writer, you might be, very intellectual and very able to communicate about things. You may be one of those people where you're very good about communicating what your feelings are, but might struggle to show that emotion, might struggle to, because, that's another thing about the Strength card that's kind of can be in the shadow aspect is, if you have this tight control over your feelings and your ego, you might almost be somebody who's like so good at controlling it that you don't feel your feelings. You can talk about them all day long, but you struggle to feel them. There's something here about like that kind of imbalance. There's something where you're very accomplished, and then there's something that needs a lot of work. And it's really interesting because they're of similar ilk, right? So again, it's communication, and I feel like for some of you, you're very, very good at communicating some things, and then you struggle very hard to communicate other things. So it can be hard, and it can be a struggle because on the surface, you might look like you have mastered communication. It may have looked like you've mastered communication, but there are these kind of like areas, like I said, in your blind spot, and this lifetime is really going to be to pull that out of you. Trying to think about things. The last thing I'm kind of getting with these two here is that you may be very, very accomplished at communicating spiritually. So again, there's that element of being a gifted channeler or a medium. You may be really just like naturally adept at communicating spiritually, but have a very, very hard time communicating with your own emotions, communicating your emotions. You may just be somebody who prefers to kind of sort of be out there in the ether, be out there in the 5D, and struggle to take those lessons and apply them to your own life, or to you might be somebody who's very accomplished at communicating spiritual concepts, but might struggle very hard with communicating emotions. So there's something about that. There's something where, this is a double-edged sword where you are incredibly accomplished, and it's just a natural talent, a natural gift, and then an area where you might struggle very, very hard to communicate. And I think that's going to be in focus for you in this lifetime. So let's pull some more tarot. Oh my God. Okay. How many do we have here? I'm going to pull one more because Group 1 got 4 cards. So we're going to grab another card and then talk about it. Oh my gosh, you guys, the words are just like rattling around in my mouth today, and they're doing whatever they want. They're having a hootenanny. It's just bedlam. So, okay, you guys got the 8 of Pentacles reversed. Oh, the 8 of Swords reversed. Okay. Okie dokie. I love that because we were talking about that earlier. The 2 of Pentacles. I don't know about you guys. I have like typos, and I accidentally write pet knackles instead of pentacles, and now that's what I want to call them. And then you guys have, the 7 of Swords. Again, Group 1 also got the 7 of Swords. So if you were attracted to Group 1 as well, it may serve you to go and watch that. You don't have to, but yeah, there may be some overlap here, overlapping themes. Sorry, I'm trying to set them up. But it's not my strong suit. Aesthetic is not what I'm good at, and that's okay. I want to comment on the fact really quickly that we have 3 8s, so 8, 8, and 8. Very much a number about abundance and manifestation. So yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. I also love that you have the 8 of Swords reversed. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier. with these self-imposed limitations. And I love the way that this card is illustrated. This is what it would look like upright. So see, she's looking at her own reflection, and in her reflection she is like bound and blindfolded, but she's not actually, right? And I love seeing this card reversed. 8 of Swords reversed is probably one of my favorite cards in the entire deck. It's so empowering. I want to slurp it up for breakfast. Like, it's real good. So yeah, what I'm getting here is I feel like y'all are going to be, in some way, shape, or form, y'all are going to be really, really hard workers, or somebody who, with these, this situation, the area where you're very accomplished, you're very prolific is the word I'm getting, because the 8 of Pentacles upright is all about, working really hard, honing your craft, and I feel like with it reversed, you almost don't even have to do that. Whatever it is that you are talented at in terms of communication, I feel like you're just naturally gifted at it. I do feel like you could spend a lot of time doing it and kind of sinking yourself into it, like the 8 of Pentacles, but I'm also kind of getting this vibe of like, you don't have to work at it, right? You don't have to try. It's just natural for you. And with all of the depictions, especially on this card, I love they use this for the moon phases, and she's got a bunch of witchy stuff around her. So again, there's this element to which you could be a very gifted, like very spiritually gifted, but struggle very hard in other areas of your life. But because I'm also noticing her feet are bare, but then they're like mostly off the ground. They're just barely touching. So, this card to me is kind of really talking about like, you don't even have to really sink a lot of work into those parts of like, into what it is that you're already good at. You are naturally gifted at it. With the green candle here, there's a lot of fertility, there's a lot of success, and again, a lot of green. This is something that you love to do. In addition to being quite good at it, you love to do it. And I love that. I love seeing this. It's interesting. I just noticed we have 2 Pentacles cards, 2 Swords cards. So again, there's something here about, the mind, our communication style, and then, being grounded in physical reality. And so I feel like this is also too something where you're just going to be really naturally gifted at it. You're not going to have to work very hard. This is something that's likely going to bring you, I'm hearing like a lot of like notoriety or acclaim, and this might be even in small circles, but this is something where people are going to know you for this. They're going to be like, oh yeah, I've got this friend, they're a writer, or they're a great public speaker, something like that. And you're just not even going to have to work at it, right? And then I think I like that she's looking at the 8 of Swords, because I think this is going to be really interesting for you, because you're going to hit a point in your life where there's going to be this very big disparity. Look, because these circles are huge and these ones are very small. There's this really big disparity where it's like, okay, maybe you'll be the type of person where you climb a career ladder, or you just like work on this skill set for a long time, and then if you hit a certain level of success, I feel like it's going to make you start thinking about areas of your life that you want to develop more. And this is really going to be when this transformation happens for you. This may be when you have your spiritual awakening, although it certainly does not have to be. But with the 7 of Swords here, I feel like there's a truth, because this is kind of looks like this could be either the sun or the moon. I feel like there is a truth here that you're not sure of, or you're questioning. There's something that you haven't been able to see clearly, and I think that's why, because we have the 7 and then to the 8 reversed. I know they don't go in that order, but still, I feel like there's something where you're all done running away from it. You're all done. There's going to be like a point in your life where you're like, you know what? Screw it. I know I'm not good at XYZ, but I need to learn. It kind of has this determination, like you're ready to climb the mountain at that point, right? Because with the 8 of Swords reversed, there is this desire. There's going to be like a moment where I feel like it's just a huge epiphany. It just like shakes you, maybe not to your core, but it's that moment where, you take the blindfold off, where you're like, I know this, what I've been doing in this area of my life isn't working. Like, this is what's working well, this is what's not, and I know I need to do more, right? And I think it's super interesting when we're talking about being, perhaps being really spiritually gifted, but struggling in all other, struggling to stay grounded, struggling in other areas of daily life, because we have this version in particular of the 2 of Pentacles. So the 2 of Pentacles can usually talk about, pros and cons, going back and forth, things being, chaotic, but you're able to manage. You're kind of, you're juggling a bunch of things. You can make it work, but if somebody throws one more thing at you, it's going to kind of screw up your stuff here. But this particular version of the 2 of Pentacles, I feel like, is trying to negotiate a balance between the spiritual and the earthly, right? Because this makes me think root chakra. This makes me think crown chakra. And especially with the orange skirt here, it's like very, very sacral chakra kind of energy. This is about trying to establish a balance in your life, a spiritual balance, along with more of an earthly balance. So maybe this is, trying to develop those skills that you need to develop in your daily life to kind of help move you closer to where you want to be. And this can also really talk about, there are things in your life where you've been going back and forth on it, things where you've been making it work, you've been piecing it together, but it's not the strongest. There might be a weak spot, right? So that's kind of really what I'm picking up, is that there is this energy where there's going to come this point in your life where you're going to kind of really take stock and assess and be like, okay, this isn't working, this is working. And I feel like it's either going to come on the heels of or inspire this moment of something, just like the blindfold, like I said, falling off. And it's going to be that moment of like, I wish I could do X, Y, Z, but I can't. I don't have those skills. Or like, maybe I can do this thing that I've always thought wasn't an option for me. There's some element to which this is kind of really talking about your perceived shortcomings. And that's when this energy is going to really kick in. That's when you're going to be that butterfly fighting to get out of its own cocoon, fighting to escape these sort of like bindings of, your perceived lack, your perceived shortcomings. And that's when these other skills will really develop. So it may very well be that you spend most of your life or half of your life or, however long it is, really working on these other skills that you're naturally more talented at, that you like kind of just don't even have to work for. And then there's going to come a point where maybe, you've really reached the upper tier in what you can do in that area of your life, and now it's time to work on something else. And I feel like that's when this immense expansion and growth is going to happen. And especially with the Two of Pentacles, I do kind of feel like there are going to be moments where it's really going to be hard to manage. And with the Seven of Swords, there might be moments where maybe you feel like you're like fooling yourself, or there's going to be like a lot that you have to uncover about yourself. But there is victory here, and there is a lot of self-empowerment. And I feel like at the end of this, you are going to be a master of both like the kind of like the throat and heart chakra, that kind of like emotionally authentic and honest communication, which is really, really cool. I'm super excited about that. So, recapping, this is amazing. If I had to take a guess, or if I had to, not take a guess, but interpret, I would say this group is most likely leaning Divine Feminine as well. Group 1 was also Divine Feminine. And I think it's really interesting because you have two very strong, much like Group 1, two very strong major arcana Divine Feminine influences coming out under your identifying cards. And you have almost all feminine except for the one masculine here. So, I hope this has helped. If you need help with your specific situation, I offer this exact reading on my Etsy shop. The link is in the description below. If you don't see anything there that meets either spiritual or financial needs, totally DM me because I'm happy to make you a custom reading. I am wishing you all the best and the most beautiful things that life has to offer, okay? I'll see you soon, love bugs. Take care. Bye. Hello to all of my sweet little garbanzo beans who were drawn into group 3 with this cute little white mouse that my cat has graciously let us use for this reading. If you were drawn into this particular animal little representation here, I feel as if you might be the type of person who's really detail oriented, who kind of like, has a good handle on the small things in your everyday life. You may also be, I always think because mice have so many babies, I think of mice as like a strangely maternal animal. You may also be somebody who struggles with a lot of nervousness or anxiety or overthinks a lot. Oof, excuse my burp, I'm sorry. But you're also somebody who's likely very energetic, or at least has bursts of energy, and you can get a lot done in that time. Just trying to see if I get anything else off of this little mouse. I also feel like you have a lot of hidden talents. You may be the type of person who comes across in some ways as average, but then out of nowhere you have these abilities and these skills and these, I don't know, I'm hearing gifts set. I don't know what that means in the situation. So maybe set of spiritual gifts that you are able to like it just feels like when people need a win, you can kind of pull one out of nowhere. right? You're a little bit like it's like the wild card meets the mild card. It's kind of the energy I'm picking up here. So with that being said, I am going to pull a card from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle to kind of talk about the energy that you are coming into this lifetime with and how this is going to play out with your sort of your energetic identity. Yeah, so there we go. And then I'm also going to pull, I have the traditional tarot, the Rider-Waite, which I'm going to pull to talk about your, like the representations of your energy in this lifetime that will kind of give us more of a hint as to whether you might be more divine masculine or more divine feminine leaning. And then I have the Lighteseer's tarot to kind of clarify that and get into it a little bit more deeply. So let us pull you a card. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at shuffling on camera. This deck is very hard because it is like literally the size of my hand. I'm a very small person. So, oh, it's this one, you guys. You guys, it's this one. Okay, let me just put the deck down, out of my way. Okay. Ooh, okay, you know what I love? This card came up multiple times earlier. Here, I don't know if you can see it. But like not earlier in the reading, but while I was shuffling earlier today. So I like that it actually came out. That's really cool. But this says, the frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. Yes, so there's a lot of green here. There's a lot about your feelings, about the heart chakra. There's also, this is the number 9, and so this is really talking about you know, 9s can be all about wrapping up a cycle. 9s to me are also a little bit about, like they kind of give me that energy of a little bit of, I guess I'll say kind of like a cult knowledge, just a tiny bit. 7s and 9s are particularly spiritual numbers to me. Actually, 3s are as well, but all for different reasons. And for 9 in particular, this kind of talks about the spiritual knowledge hidden within. And so because it's a 9, it's all about wrapping up a cycle, and group 1 had a 9 as well. I feel like this is something where this has been hidden from you for most likely several lifetimes, and that this lifetime is just really coming into fruition, coming into your awareness. And I don't know why I'm getting really with this design here. This is like through your nervous system, right? Because it says, you know, without judgment, opinion, fear, and without resistance. This is all about allowing. The energy I was picking up on in the beginning with the mouse was almost like a very like a Virgo kind of energy. And so you may be somebody who does really well tending to the small details, is incredibly detail oriented. Again, very much wild card meets mild card. And there's almost like a nurturing maternal instinct here that I kind of feel as well. But I do feel like there's a lot of nervousness. So you may struggle to trust that things are going to work out okay for you, or you may struggle to you may struggle to kind of let go of control, like let the wheel turn for you, essentially. And I feel like this is being addressed in this lifetime through, I feel like, a number of different challenges, just because we have so many like little orbs here. I feel like a number of different challenges and in a number of different areas of your life. Like I'm feeling like 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5 different major areas of your life. And this is, or there's going to be, 5 different major situations or major periods of your life where this is going to keep coming up for you. And this is because, with all of the yellow and orange here, this is your divine masculine feminine trying to work in tandem with one another. This is that, knowing when to hit the gas, when to hit the brakes, and when to do nothing, essentially. And I feel like that's very hard for this group. I feel like this, if you were attracted to this group, you may have had some experiences, some very formative experiences in your life where maybe you felt blindsided, you didn't have enough, excuse me. It kind of feels like, if I'm not doing the work, I'm not making things happen, then they're not going to happen for me. There just feels like there's a lot of panic here. And like waiting for the other shoe to drop, because I just keep seeing this like image of a mouse scurrying into its little mouse hole in the wall and like fearing a cat it can't even see. It's like when you hear the boss music, but you don't see the boss. That was weird. Sorry. Something just rustled and fell over. That's cool. But yeah, it's like kind of almost hearing the boss music without seeing the boss, right? So there's this element of, nervousness is really the only way I can think about it. But I like that there almost looks like there's water in the background. I don't know if you can see that in the card. It's almost like there's like still waters in the background. To me, this is very much like Spirit's trying to get you in communication with your intuition, and with like, this kind of reminds me of like universal heart kind of energy. And I like that it's closed in by a square too. So this is kind of the universe saying like, we've got you, it's going to be okay. It's safe to find peace in your day-to-day life. And I think this will manifest for all of you differently and through different challenges. So that's really interesting. So let's pull you guys a tarot card. It's really interesting. I came into this with the intention to pull one, but so far both groups have had 2 cards come flying out. So we'll see what happens. But to kind of get a feel for if you're more divine, masculine, or feminine energies. Oh, okay. Okay, 3 cards just came out, so we're going to take it. We're going to see what happens. And not all cards in the tarot have a depiction of, somebody who's more masculine or feminine on them. So that's worth noting. But we will also like read the energies themselves of each card and kind of get a good feel from that point. Anyway. Okay, 8 of Wands. Oh, the 4 of Wands. My goodness. Ooh. Ooh, spicy. The Hermit. Okay, I'm laughing because if you're not familiar with tarot, the Hermit represents Virgo. That's so funny. And I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out. So we also have another 9 here as well. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love when that happens. I'll never get over it. It's still so cool every time. Okay. We have a masculine figure depicted, and then we have 2 Wands cards. So the Wands suit is representative of fire energy, and fire energy is traditionally a masculine energy. So I'm going to go ahead and say, we'll look at what other tarot comes out later. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think this group may be more divine masculine, and I think part of the challenge of this lifetime is tapping into that. I get the feeling that, again, something has happened if you're attracted to this group, that something either has happened in this life or maybe will happen, or happened a long time ago, where it really damaged your sense of because like I mentioned earlier, if you skip the intro, divine masculine energy is very externally oriented. So it's very much about, taking action. It's about your solar plexus chakra, which we see a lot here with all the yellow in the background. It's about, your confidence, your sense of self-efficacy, and like really what you can bring to the table, what you can do, what you can manifest, right? Like I said, it's all about taking action, really, whereas divine feminine is a little bit more passive and a little bit more receptive. Divine masculine is very much like, taking the steps forward. And I see this with the Hermit too, right? Because the Hermit has to take the steps forward to go within and go on this spiritual quest and the spiritual journey. And the 8 of Wands is very much this like fast moving energy about fast forward movement, rapid communication. It can be about travel as well. It's also a very sexual energy, I'm going to be honest. And because it's pointed at the 4 of Wands, I feel like you're the type of person that, again, likes to be very detail-oriented, like that Virgo energy, and likes to take action toward trying to establish, I don't know if you can see with the 4 of Wands, this like celebration. I'm sorry, there's not a whole lot of room. There we go. Likes to take action toward establishing this celebration and this stability. The 4 of Wands can also talk about a happy home. So, perhaps this is something where if things were a little chaotic in your home growing up, this made you want to, really seek to, create like a stable environment for yourself. But there's something here about feeling like you have to always have your hand on the wheel, essentially. And I know that might not always seem, divine masculine energy is kind of like, oh, really confident, all this other stuff. But, both of our divine masculine and divine feminine energies can have healthy representations and less than healthy representations. And the less than healthy representation of the divine masculine energy can be about a need to control, right? And I don't mean control as in like controlling other people. I mean like always needing to know all the answers, always needing to have a plan, always needing to have a backup plan, always kind of looking around waiting for the other shoe to drop, because then you're not trusting in, and I say this with love because I'm exactly this type of personality, but then you're not really trusting as much in the flow of the universe, in this idea that the universe has got you, right? That the universe is like not only got your back, but is trying to like bring you toward your happiness. And I feel like you're going to have many points in your life where you're going to have to do the soul searching energy of the hermit and really look at where these patterns come from and how much they're serving you, right? Because I feel like the way that this probably plays out for many of you is a less healthy version of the divine masculine energy, right? So it's not so much about taking action with confidence, it's about taking action out of fear, which makes a lot of sense, especially if you've had experiences where this was just like, and I get the feeling for many of you, this might have some links to past lifetimes. The other two groups got that really strongly. But for many of you, I feel like this is mostly happened in this lifetime. Like you've had either an event or a series of events that was just made such a huge impact that it's made it really hard for you to kind of release control. I feel like there's like this element of hypervigilance here. And I feel like this is what Spirit wants to kind of address with you, is how to have a healthy divine masculine energy. And for many of you, this may be by engaging more in your divine feminine energy, or in really working on taking steps, from a place of like manifesting that confidence, going after what you want, instead of from a place of fear of losing things, if that makes any sense. And for some of you, I feel like this is going to really talk about timing. Like for some of you, if you're, maybe you're always trying to kind of, if you got something kind of cooking on the back burner, you're always fussing with it essentially, metaphorically. And I feel like this is going to talk about really doing the soul searching and really taking the time to decide what it is that you want. So that way, when the time comes to take action, you can kind of like put your whole, spiritual weight behind it and really manifest something for yourself that's going to be very stable and bring you a lot of joy. Because I feel right now that whatever it is that you're holding on to, it feels secure, it feels safe, but I feel like it doesn't make you very happy. And I kind of feel like that's what, especially with all the yellow solar plexus chakra energy, but also happiness and joy and confidence. I feel like that's something that the universe really kind of wants to talk about. And I'm always drawn to the fact that the Hermit's like a pretty gray card, but he's got a yellow staff and then a yellow star guiding him. And to me, this is really, letting what your passion, like what kind of passions you have, what drives you, what makes you feel confident, what helps inspire you to take action toward your dreams and your goals, letting these things both lead you and leaning on your vision, your dreams for support. So, I think that's everything I see there. I'm going to pull some more tarot though, so we can dig a little deeper, uncover some more stoof. Sorry about my dry throat. It is very cold and dry where I live. So this actually goes over here. Oof, okay. Yeez Louise. All right, let's set these up for you guys. I feel like it goes in this order. Okay, so you guys got Temperance reversed. You guys got the High Priestess reversed. That's so interesting. The High Priestess has been in every single group today. So she has a lot to say, apparently, which is good. You guys got the Hermit again. Y'all can't make this shiz up. Gonna pee my pants. And then the Eight of Cups. So of your 4 cards, 3 are major arcana. The High Priestess is here. Like I said, she's shown up in the other 2 groups as well. And it's interesting because the first group was card 18, which reduces to a 9. And then the High Priestess was reversed there, whereas in the second group she was upright. So if you felt drawn to group 1, you may want to go back and watch that as well, to kind of just, I feel like, to get more information about your spiritual journey. But I kind of don't feel, there is like a pretty big connection between group 1 and 2 in this reading, and I'm feeling less of that connection between 1 and 3. But should you want to do that, should you feel so led, go for it. Not that you need my permission. I'm sorry I keep coughing, by the way. I'm trying really hard, you guys. Okay. So 3 major arcana. You have the Hermit upright twice. So like big Virgo energy here for real. You also have Sagittarius represented with the Temperance card. And because especially this version of the Temperance card has both a sun and a moon on it, this to me is kind of like masculine and feminine energy, hardcore. But the Temperance card largely, when it's upright, is about, you know, patience, divine timing, healing, but also balance. And I feel like this is coming up now because, again, like we talked about, I feel like there is a large imbalance between your energies at this time. It's like that idea of, you know, when to hold on, when to let go, when to hit the gas, when to, you know, pump the brakes, and when to just kind of coast and do nothing. And it's a partnership with the universe, and I feel like this is kind of what Spirit wants to talk about, is because I think you have a lot of potential to create a lot and like really bring into manifestation, and pretty quick too, a lot of happiness for yourself. A lot of happiness I'm hearing that you've been denying yourself, or that has been repeatedly denied to you. And I feel like this is coming up now because Spirit wants to help you out. Because, you know, when we're anxious, when we're nervous, when we fear losing control, when we fear not having our needs met, you know, we can hold too tight. And I know personally I'm very guilty of this, but we can hold too tight. But when we kind of like hold on to the energy with a death grip, we're not giving it to the universe, right? If you imagine like, if you imagine it's kind of like a seesaw, if you're on one end and you insist on like keeping your end down toward the ground, you know, or you insist on staying up in the air, either way, I guess down to the ground would probably make more sense in this analogy. You're not allowing the seesaw to work as it's supposed to. You're not allowing the back and forth and the enjoyment to create the experience you're trying to create. And this is kind of what Spirit's trying to talk about with you, is like that your desires, your dreams, they're right there. And with the 8 of Wands too, I feel like they're right there. They're trying to come in super hard. You have everything you need to create that. And I feel like, but there, like I said, there's this fear-based energy, that is impacting your ability to really bring this into fruition. And this may very well be, with the Hermit energy of needing to soul search, this may very well be kind of like really honing in on what's true to you. So maybe you're trying to manifest something that's not really your greatest wish, your vision, your dreams, or maybe you're kind of thinking small. So if it's like a job, for example, maybe you have what it takes, you have the qualifications to go for that position that you really want, but if you're kind of cutting yourself off at the knees, you might not reach that. And so this is like a hint, kind of like a not hint, but a talking to from Spirit about taking the time to soul search and decide what is true for you without looking at it through the lens of fear, right? So without thinking of like, well, I could never take a leap and do this thing because, it's not very stable, or I could never do this because I don't, have the qualifications, or, I only have some of the qualifications, or why would they ever pick a candidate like me? Or there's something here about that. And especially too, if you're the type of person with all this Virgo energy that likes to try to be of service to other people, you may be consistently putting other people in front of yourself and putting your own desires and needs on the back burner. And I think this would genuinely come from a desire to serve others, but this also kind of comes from a protective place, right? If you never put your dreams out there, you never have to risk them getting, dashed, so to speak. You never have to take the risk. And I think that risk for this group is very, very, very difficult, especially emotional and like energetic, spiritual risk is like almost unfathomable for this group. Like, I feel like this like anxiety, this almost like shaking fear. And there's, and whatever this may be, with all the green, this is something that's really on your on your heart, in your heart space. And this is something that with the High Priestess reverse, Spirit's trying to show you this, right? Because she is the keeper of many secrets. She has a lot of, and it's interesting, we were talking about occult knowledge earlier, because she's all about occult knowledge. I totally forgot that I said that. I was like, oh yeah. But she's like the keeper of occult knowledge. And then when she's reversed, it's like this, it can talk about this need to trust your intuition, but it can also talk about the way forward, the path, the information you need. It's being revealed to you because you're ready to know it and to see it and to act on it. And coupled with the Hermit twice, I really feel like this is something where this information, I feel like you already intuitively sense this, you know this, and this information comes from Spirit, but this is really going to come from this time alone in meditation and in soul searching. And with all the steps going up the path here, this is something where I feel like you've been on this journey for a minute, but you still have some steps left to go. So this is really talking about, taking the time to meditate, to reflect, to be alone without the influence of other people. And I'm really hearing without the influence of other people's needs, like weighing on your conscience, because I feel like you're very conscientious of other people's needs to the point where it can stifle some of your divine masculine energy that wants to be differently expressed. For some of you, it may be really beneficial to do some root chakra healing work. There's a lot of meditations on YouTube. There's a lot of information out there, even if you just Google it, or weirdly enough, Pinterest could be good for this. But checking out, root chakra healing, plans. There are really good journaling prompts about this. Eating a lot of red foods or a lot of root vegetables or tubers are really good for root chakra healing. There's a bunch of different things you can do. And anybody who has experience with this, please feel free to comment down below. But you can help out the channel while we help each other. But, really what I'm seeing is that there's this period of time, and I feel for many of you this is either started or is close at hand, where you're really going to be called to look inward. And I also just noticed, I want to mention, we have 9, 9, 9, and then we have 2 8s. So again, this is about wrapping up this old cycle of this, I'm really in this death grip, this terror hold that fear has on you. Because I feel like there's a lot that wants to come into creation. And then, with the 8 of Cups, this is all about leaving behind things that don't serve you anymore, right? Things that you have put a lot of your energy and your time and your emotions into, but just don't really fulfill you emotionally. Because the person on the 8 of Cups always leaves behind their cups, and traditionally it's 8 cups on this card, it's not, but always leaves behind their cups in order to seek out the 9 and 10 of Cups, which is, a personal kind of almost wish fulfillment. And then the 10 of Cups is total emotional fulfillment, and usually refers to total emotional fulfillment in terms of in relation to other people, so family, romantic partners, friends, etc. And I first of all, we've got the light right here, and we've been talking about solar plexus chakra. So we have sun, we have the light right here with the enlightenment, and then we have the sun rising right here. This is you walking toward your healthy divine masculine energy. And I love to see this, right? Because this is really, again, I think it's really interesting. So like I said, in the traditional card, there are 8 cups in the foreground, and the person's walking away from them. But in this, there's 1. And there's 1 cup that's already sank, and then there's 1 that still has a fire burning in it. So the kind of feeling I'm getting from this is that you might be that kind of person that will just stick it out to the bitter end. I'm really hearing that, was it the lyrics from that Cake song? You still don't like to leave until the end of the movie. Even if you don't like the movie, you'll still stay to the end, kind of a thing. I feel like you're a very loyal person. You're a very loving person. I feel like you take on a lot of other people's problems almost as your own. And I feel like you will stay till the end of the movie, so to speak, even if it's not really serving you anymore. And I feel like why Spirit wants to bring this up now is because it's time for you to step into that more healthy, enlightened, divine masculine energy that you embody. And it's time for you to really, not be afraid to make the decision to walk away. Because I feel like there's a lot of fear here about deciding to move forward, right? There's a lot of fear here about, even though you know this thing isn't serving you anymore, there's fear to leave it behind. And I think it's interesting, there's a lot of darkness on the edges. So this is emerging from that darkness. And this could be, you know, a relationship, a job, an old pattern that you've been engaging in for a long time. Because I feel like as soon as you do leave this behind, things are going to pick up very quickly, right? And I feel like this is all at your fingertips. Your greatest happiness is all at your fingertips, but there's a lot of fear holding you back. And I feel like it involves, you know, with the flame still burning here, there's something where it feels like there's still a little something left, but it's not enough to keep it going. And I feel like you have a lot of fear about letting that go out, and fear about making the wrong choice, and fear about not having enough in some way, shape, or form. And Spirit just really wants to kind of assure you that it's gonna be okay, that it's safe for you, and that if you kind of release attachment to this thing, that really, like, that opens up the energy, and that really allows Spirit to come in and give you opportunities, or like give you directly exactly what it is that you've been wanting. But it requires that you be very honest with yourself, and you get clear on your intentions, and you detach from what's not serving you and release the results. Like, you know, you put it out there, you manifest this into the universe, and you let Spirit take care of the rest, and kind of walk away from things that take up your time, your attention, your money, your emotions, your resources that don't give back to you anymore. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you want more help with your specific situation, I have a reading in my Etsy shop that specifically deals with this particular topic. And if if you're looking there and you don't see something that meets your spiritual or financial needs, please feel free to DM me, because I'm totally happy to make a custom reading for you. With that, I think I'm going to leave y'all here for the day, but I am wishing you all of the best and the most beautiful things that life has to offer. Take care, love bugs. Bye.